Because of one. You couldn't do it. Public money on private property.
Yeah, you got it there for.
Now it's a little after 5:30. I'll call the May 11th meeting of Orange County Council to order. We will begin with the invocation by Mr. Yance, followed by the pledge of allegiance. All those who are able, please rise.
Let's pray. Lord God, we are grateful for this day that you've given us. Lord, we ask that you give us tomorrow. Lord, we ask that you give us the courage to glorify your kingdom on each day that you give us. Lord, we ask that you guide us and direct us with your wisdom, not wisdom of the world, when we make decisions for this county. Lord, we ask that you be with our state. We ask that you be with our nation. We ask these things in Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you all who came out this evening. I'm glad to have you here. We'll try to get through this meeting as quick as we can. First, we have approval of the agenda. I know that we have a section to add. Are you going to need action on that item, Ms. Anderson? Are you going to report to council?
Just a report to council.
All right, number 6, we're going to add letter C. Update from the Parks, Rec, and Tourism Committee. All right, are there any other additions or deletions to the agenda this evening?
Mr. Chairman, I do have one matter that it was a scrivener's error from 2000 on the transfer by the county. I just want to advise the county that we need to do a corrected deed to the owner. The names were misspelled or disappropriate. It'll take about 2 seconds to.
Which item you need that under new business?
Oh, that'd be fine, yes.
All right, so add F. What do you want to call it, Danny?
Corrective title to real estate.
Corrective title to real estate. Are there any other items to add or delete? All right, hearing none, I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Rankin, second by Ms. Anderson. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. 6-0. All right, next we'll move into approval of the minutes. We have the budget session from April 17th, 20th, 27th, and 29th. I'd love to entertain a motion on approval of the minutes collectively.
Motion to approve budget session meetings April 17th, 2021, April 20th, 2021, April 27th, 2021, April 29th, 2021. Second.
Have a motion by Mr. Carroll, second by Mr. Tribble. Are there any additions or deletions to those minutes? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. 6-0. All right, next we have the approval of minutes from the April 27th meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I move for approval of our regular session meeting on April the 27th with any correction if there be any.
A motion by Ms. Anderson,
Second.
second by Mr. Rankin. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. 6-0. All right, next we'll move into report to council. There was a typo on this, and this question come on up. This is a briefing for District 3 special election, unless there's something somebody has not told me yet today. I don't intend on
Haven't told
leaving.
me either.
I hear you, Ms. Anderson.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of council, Ms. Walsh. Thank you for having me. Just a little few brief notes about our office. As you know, we completed the general election. We had over 8,000 people walking through our office to vote in person, which is triple what we've normally had. In March, we conducted 6 municipal elections. And actually today we're conducting the Great Court special election. Today we're doing the Ware Shoal School Board election. June 8th, we'll be doing the Great Court special election, but I know that tonight you're probably concerned about the County Council 3 election to fill a vacancy. That election is set for Tuesday, September 21st. It's a partisan election, so primaries will be held. And if a primary is needed, they will be on Tuesday, July 20th, with a possible runoff on August 3rd. There'll be 13 precincts involved. State law does not allow us to combine these precincts. And candidate filing will be Friday, May 28th at noon through Saturday, June 5th at noon. Filing fee for that office is $169.85. Any questions?
Are there any questions from council for Ms. West? If not, I just want to say thank you. I wish people knew how hard your office works. I still attest we have the best election office in the entire state.
Well,
So thank you for all your hard
You
work.
let us know after these elections are over. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. All right, next we have a report from Ms. Kirk on the county finances.
Good evening, council. You have received your financial statements for quarter ending in March. The detail is posted on our website along with the check register and the credit card transactions, which went up on the website today. As you can see, our revenues are about 8% more than this time last year. Our expenses are less than a percentage point off from last year. So as things stand right now, we are looking to finish the year strong. Does anyone have any questions about anything that was on the website?
Any members of council have any questions, Ms. Kirk? No, thank you for all the hard work. We've been doing a lot of bonding stuff lately, getting for this anticipation for the CPSC funds. And I'd like to thank Ms. Kirk and her office, as well as county attorney, Mr. Satterfield, and the treasury department for all the work you've been putting in to get all those numbers ready as well. Thank you very much. All right, next I'll call on Ms. Anderson. We're going to get an update from the Park, Rec, and Tourism Committee.
Council, we met this afternoon at 4:45 to discuss 2 maintenance requests from 2 of the townships within the county. One being Waterloo and the other one is Hickory Tavern regarding some recreation maintenance. For Waterloo, we mutually agreed on our committee is Mr. Yance and Luke Rankin. And so we discussed the information that was given to us by Andy Howard, the recreation person. And for Waterloo, we decided to go into a written agreement with them regarding the cutting of the grass along with the cost factor. We also wanted to impress upon Waterloo to add, in their budget, something for recreation, since our 1 cent sale tax is gonna be passed and some recreation equipment will be given to them. And so we requesting that they look at that, because it'll be a little bit more on their playground. The playground is open to the public. As far as Hickory Tavern, we decided to not do anything with Hickory Tavern, because Hickory Tavern Park is a 501(c), and that's a nonprofit organization, and we are a public organization. And so we could not give public money to a private entity. So we did not do anything with that particular part. So those are the two things we addressed this afternoon, and that is what we would like council to accept as our report.
All right, thanks, Ms. Anderson. Does anybody have any questions for Ms. Anderson? All right, thank y'all for meeting and discussing those. All right, we're going to jump into new business now. I'll call on County Attorney.
And I'll call on Mr. Cole. They take the next
Next three,
resolution and the first reading, going down the next three.
Mr. Chairman and Council, as Mr. Cruikshanks mentioned, this kind of pertains to all three of those on the agenda. But we've recruited a new industry to the Fountain Inn area, going into what was formerly known as Imatech, which is the building on the left side of 385 going north, right before you cross the county line. It's a $8+ million investment in 82 new jobs. They're a tier 1 automotive supplier to BMW and Volvo. The FILO agreement you have there, the reason why it's two separate ones is because it's a lease situation where they're going to be leasing the building from somebody. So the building's in one, and then the company has one for their equipment. But all in total, for years 1 through 5, the revenue should be about $65,000, and then years 6 through 30, it should be estimated about $90 million. That's if they don't expand any between now and then. So 90,000, yeah.
Said 90 million, I'm getting a little excited.
Oh, sorry. I got excited. 90,000. But I'll be glad to answer any questions about any of those.
What was the CapEx?
It's 8.2 million. In 82 jobs, so it's kind of easy to remember.
All right, y'all heard the recommendation by Mr. Coleman. Do I have a motion to approve resolution 2021-37C?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Carroll. Second by Mr. Youngs. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you.
All righty, and then same project. This is actually ordinance authorizing the fee and lieu. Do I have a motion to approve first reading of ordinance number 902?
Mr. Chairman, I move for first reading of ordinance 902.
Motion by Ms. Anderson. Second by Mr. Rankin. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of first reading approval of ordinance 902, please raise your right hand. 6-0. All right, Jonathan, you back up.
It's the same. It's the same. That's the landlord. And that the purpose of that is to benefit the tenant, to be able to pass through the lower tax rate to the tenant.
All right, y'all heard the recommendation from the county attorney. Do I have a motion for approval of first reading ordinance number 903?
Motion to approve first reading ordinance 903. Second.
Second by Mr. Carroll. Is there any discussion or questions? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. 6-0. All right, next I'll call on Ms. Kirk again.
Good evening. I come before you tonight to ask for a yearly extension into the Martin and Jenkins auditing contract. We have found with all of the bonding financial information that we have been compiling, it would be in our best interest to stay consistent with our reporting. Also, Martin and Jenkins also have a good rapport. They know our systems, they know our processes. And you'll find in your packet, they have offered us 1 year extension for just a few thousand more dollars. And they also offered a 3-year extension, which would save us about $10,000 over the next 3 years. It is almost guaranteed that we're going to be experiencing the single audits in the future, simply because of the federal funding that's coming down. That is an added expense to our audit.
Is that already reflected in our upcoming budget, or we need to adjust to accommodate?
I would need to go back and look and see what had been placed in the budget for the auditing services.
All right. Well, you've all heard the recommendation by Ms. Kirk. Do you have any questions for her about our current process or what she's recommended moving forward?
I have a question regarding some of the things they mentioned in the audit. Have y'all been following up on those particular items that they expressed that was in deficiency?
We have had no findings for the previous 2 years.
It was something about the way you were doing an Excel sheet by hand.
Capital assets, yes, ma'am. We are working to bring up our capital assets module within CSI. It's going to be a collaborative effort between our office and Public Works to prepare that within our system. And we are working on that, yes, ma'am.
All the things that he requested, I want to just make sure that you all was following up on those.
Yes, ma'am. We already have about 400 assets keyed into the system.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any other questions for Ms. Kirk? So what is your formal request? Are you looking for a 1 year extension, or you look more interested in the 3 year?
I'm really interested in the 3 year, but I'm willing to take the 1 year.
Okay.
It is really good to have a set of auditors that understand the way that we have our records set up, since the treasurer's office uses one software and we use another software. It just makes it easier when they already understand your funds and your processes. And auditors are auditors. They have set rules, set guidelines that they have to follow. So regardless of really who walks in the door, they're going to follow the same set of rules. But Martin and Jenkins knows the way we conduct business.
And the price difference between the 1 year extension and a 3 year?
The 1 year extension, we moved from 45,000 to 47. With 3 years, they offer us 45 the first year, 45.5 the second year, and 46 the third year. But they also cut the price of the single audit in year 2 and 3 from 6,000 to 4,000. So over the course of a 3 year contract, if you had to have a single audit each year, you would save approximately $10,000.
I prefer the 1 year, based on, I guess, election processes. We have an election every 2 years, and we can have a change in the people up here on the podium. And so it would basically bind us, the ones who coming up for re-election in 22. And so I would prefer we just do one, and maybe in 22 we'll probably can do 2. I would prefer that.
All All
And
right,
how many years have we had them?
They originally audited, if I'm not mistaken, 2013.
and we're on procurement policy, all that fun stuff.
They're considered professional services.
They would still be subject to a non-appropriation clause. So to bounce off of what Ms. Anderson is saying, if the next council decided not to appropriate the funding for the second or third year, then any multi-year contract, they're gonna have a non-appropriation clause, because you can't bind this council for 2 more years.
Describe a non-appropriation clause, it just says, there's nothing about it, we have to pay the penalty or the.
Well, there is no penalty. It is a backdoor out that says if the council does not appropriate the funds to pay the contract, then the contract is null and void at that point in time. That with no penalty.
Mr. Chairman, you may want to put a motion on the floor so we can discuss it, but if it's appropriate, I'd like to comment on that now.
All right, would you like to make a motion yet?
I'd like to make a motion for 3 years, but tell me what you want to do.
Okay,
Discuss it.
we have a motion from Mr. Tribble for a 3-year contract extension. Second by Mr. Carroll. And now we'll open floor for discussion.
In defense of that, I've lived most of my life, both at the city of Clinton early on in business and so forth, with the same auditor. And as Lisa was saying, they do come in with the same set of rules and professional objectives, but they do have to understand the rules of engagement, and they may end up not only just costing us less in terms of the money we give them, but costing us less in what we do to comply with what they ask us to do. And that the board needs to gain a confidence in the auditors to be able to question them and know how things transition from 1 year to the next in a continuum. And I'm inclined to say that our professionals are not quite as disposable as that. Every now and then, it is good to have a change and have somebody else come in and take a look at it, but I'm not inclined to think that we're at that point now, and I'm in favor of a longer-term relationship.
All right. Anybody else have any comments or questions?
Only reason I differ is because of what I stated earlier, and the other would be, I'm trying to figure out how I want to put this. We as a council, budget from 1 year to the next year, until we able to look at our budget and try to budget out and say you're making a budget for 2 or 3 years, and councils do that. That's why I basically disagree. I think you can, if you are not gonna look at the future, why are you asking someone else to look down the road at the future? And that's my basic thing, because I think we need to plan and plan more. And if you can do more when you plan more. And so I just don't see the council doing that planning that they need to do to have things in place. That's just my thought.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson. Anybody else?
Just one final thought. We are looking down, we are buying multi-year assets. We're committing ourselves to a multi-year sales tax, get income and expenditures. And we're doing things in a multi-year stuff right now. We have been for a long time. It's not uncommon at all to have more than 1 year. And that what Sandy's saying is that the law requires that we tell them that if the future council doesn't like what we did, they can undo it. And so I don't see that as being an objection here. But anyway, with respect to, there are advantages to a 1 year contract, but with respect to that, I stick with what I had earlier.
All right, and in my comments, I agree with Ms. Anderson about sometimes we need to be careful, but this is gonna be a required service no matter what we do. And the cost savings, just year one, I mean, they're gonna keep us where we're at and only go up $500 a year. I mean, for me, that's a no-brainer on that one. So if there's no other comments or questions, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of 3-year contract extension for our public auditor, please raise your right hand. All those opposed? Motion passes 5-1. Ms. Anderson in opposition.
Thank you.
while you're still standing there, Ms. Kirk, real quick, we're getting ready to discuss, United Way that we missed on the budget session, last meeting. Could that be 563?
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much.
Mhm.
All right, next in your packet, we have United Way here. Come on now. So we had and it is, I will take the blame for missing it and getting it in the last meeting. It was stuck behind everything and we missed it. I sincerely apologize. And I appreciate you showing up this evening to talk to us about it. And somebody correct me, and I believe we've not funded United Way in the past, is that correct?
Not since I've been there for
Okay.
years.
Okay, all right, well, go ahead and give us a spit.
Okay. My name is Alicia Carter, and I am the Executive Director of United Way. And first of all, thank you for giving me the opportunity to come and request funding for the United Way. And because of everything that's going on with COVID and everyone's trying to adapt to this and the issues that are resulted due to COVID-19, United Way has had to assist people more than ever before in the past. And that assistance is continuing. We get calls daily requesting assistance for a multitude of things. So it's very necessary that we get funding from the county if possible. United Way has been assisting those in need as far as essential items. We've had numerous essential item giveaways. I'm sure you've seen the traffic with all the food giveaways that have been going on. Also, we've given away over 1 million pounds of food to Lawrence County residents. Over 200 families have been assisted with rent or mortgage, and over 800 individuals have been assisted with utilities. And that is due to the funding that United Way has provided to the agencies in the county that are providing that assistance. We are funding over 28 programs, and because of that, and because of the need, the great increase of the need for this assistance, we are requesting that the Lawrence County Council assist us with funding. In the letter, we did request support in the amount of $25,000, but of course, any amount of assistance that the council could approve would be greatly appreciated. And we do stand firm that we will allocate these funds in the appropriate manner, and we will serve as good stewards in order to assist the residents of Lawrence County.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
What is your overall budget currently?
Our budget is, we're actually working on our budget right now. It's not complete for 21-22, but as it sits right now, we are almost at 300,000 budget, which is a decrease from the previous year due to donations.
My next question, what's your main source of funding?
Workplace campaigns, and due to COVID and people being out of jobs, and actually people that are working having to help their immediate family, then the donations to United Way has decreased drastically.
So in a good year, well, what would you normally be at? Are you pushing 4 or 5 or?
Our budget is typically around 4. We're stretching it, saying that we can get $300,000, but that's what we're shooting for. Hopefully we'll get it, but you just don't know with United Way and the nonprofit, because we do depend on pledges. So we only guess as to what we're going to get.
All right. Does anybody have any questions for Ms. Carter?
Alicia, have we had a campaign here amongst our employees at the county?
We have had a campaign with the council or the Lawrence County before, but we did not get a campaign this year. We tried, and I think there was some people that were in different positions, and the one that typically ran that campaign is no longer with the county. So there was some difficulty even last year getting a campaign
I
through the
believe our
county.
HR director did run a campaign this year.
We did.
Okay.
We did. And we have, doing payroll reduction as the year goes.
Is the requested amount of 25,000, is that what we have done in the past?
I don't think we, at least in recent years, we've not funded.
You've not funded.
I got you. Okay.
Do you receive any funding through any of the other organizations we fund, like Chamber of Commerce or any of the other ones?
We do not through the chamber. Who else?
Okay, rounding out the list. I think that would be the main one I would think that if you got anything to do them.
No, we do not.
Most of the programs that you have, they are usually 501c3 programs, some kind of program. They used to be, is that what's under the programming part?
Yes, they're all nonprofit funded. Like we fund, currently, we're doing a Good Shepherd, United Ministry, Safe Home, Beyond Abuse, the Cancer Society, SC Empowerment. Those are some of the agencies that we are currently funding.
And I realize since a lot of the employers are not, they've laid off some people. And I know that probably is causing some effects to your campaign and the pledges that you receive. But this is one organization we have not given to. We worked real hard at trying to get down to a set number of organizations who was not receiving funds from other organizations. I really think, Mr. Chairman, we could address this through the relief fund that the county get. I think we need to look at that and see what we can do for you there first.
Okay.
And then see if we have some extra money that we might can help out due to the fact that you do get a lot of money from the employers. And I don't know how that was affected yet, and maybe you can come back and make sure you let us know. But I think first this needs to be addressed through our relief fund that we're getting from the federal government. And I think that will assist this particular organization the best. And I'm quite sure there are going to be others asking for it also.
Now, what employers are you referring to that we
Well,
get?
just like this, the Lawrence County, the city, all those employers really ask the employee to pledge.
Yeah, and that is
So,
exactly.
And I know with people laying off people, you can't get any money from those individuals. So I know that would have an effect, excuse me, I put that on my mouth. That would have an effect on the amount of money you receive. I think we can help you, but I think this would be the best way to start at it first, to see if we can help you that way. And then if not, we need to address it in another way.
All right, thank you for that. And just for reference, I know I emailed everybody earlier this week, but we're gonna look at those. We finally got some explanation on those fundings, and we will be discussing that next week for sure. Mr. Trevor.
I have some other thoughts on this, Mr. Chairman. That when I came on council, after the 2001 economic disaster, council had gone through and they had, I don't know, 6 or 10 of these extremely worthy charities that they were supporting, and they just had to root them out. They were going broke and had to stop funding. And that, we're sort of in the opposite of that situation now. And that we've got to be careful how many of them we decide to go into. On the other hand, we need to set the example of how these types of worthy organizations are going to get funded. And, I think the budget for the United Way has been as high as $500,000 or $600,000 in years past when Torrington and Clinton Mills and all these were doing their campaigns. And the point of it is sort of this, that when, as an elected official or just a citizen, you decide that somebody's shown up on your doorstep and you don't know how to help them, and you want to, you've got to be, if you don't want to be giving away somebody else's money, give money to those charities and send them there. Let them take care of the people that you see, whether they work for you, whether they're in the church, whether they show up on your doorstep at work or on. And that I think that Diane's idea about dealing with this through the relief fund is probably appropriate because it emphasizes the temporary nature of it, meaning that it's hard for us to say we're going to put this on the budget. Every year is going to be money falling out of the sky. But on the other hand, I think that we need to support the United Way, and one of the ways that we might be able to do that, other than just funding a request like this in the budget, is agree to match our employees' gifts. And perhaps even become active in the campaign, you know, to try to put some energy into it and set the example for how an employer ought to deal with this. Because if properly related, people will give the money for these things. And that there's just a whole portfolio of worthy causes underneath the umbrella of the United Way. So I second Diane's thoughts about all of this, and there may be a better way to fund it, but let's think about this and try to figure out a way.
All right. Thank you for those comments. They were great. And actually, while we're here, Casey, if you'll give me the number that we're currently contributing yet, not right now, but you can get that to me so Mike can discuss that match. I do like that idea as well, just to see where we're sitting. Well, you've heard two recommendations by two council members. Does anybody have any difference in opinion they want to bring up? Well, here none. We will definitely address this in the ARP funds. So we're going to be, you don't have to come to that meeting, but we're going to be discussing how we're going to appropriate next week, and that would definitely be a worthy cause by all means. I appreciate what United Way does in the county. I see y'all out working and make a lot of good impact. So thank you for your work. It's also thankless, but we appreciate all you do, and we'll definitely be discussing this moving forward. And we're going to talk about maybe a match on our employees once we get a number on that.
That'd be
So,
wonderful.
yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, next we have, Mr. Crookshank, his correction on title.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the council, probably Ms. Anderson, myself, and Ms. Walsh, the only three probably old enough to remember this. The county sold some property to a group that developed the Social Security office out in the special park. The owners of the LLC that purchased that and built the building and all for the Social Security. You would have thought they knew what the name of their LLC was, but anyway, they got it messed up. One of them it was supposed to be a dash between the two names. Instead, it ended up an ampersand. And now fast forward, they're trying to do something with it, and they realized that the deeds from 2000, had the wrong name on them. And the intended thing was to do the first name dash, the second name LLC. That didn't how it ended up. I talked with their counsel, and I think it's appropriate as a scrivener's error to correct the two deeds. You would ask counsel simply to authorize the chairman and the acting administrator to sign the corrected deed to get the title corrected like it should have been back in 2000. No money changing hands or anything.
All righty, you've heard the recommendation by the county attorney. Do we have a motion?
So, Mr. Chairman, I move that we correct the title that pertaining to that deed as stated by the county attorney.
All right, you've heard the motion by Ms. Anderson. Second by Mr. Tribble. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. 6-0.
Thank you, counsel.
Thank you, sir. All right, moving into old business. This one I'm still very excited about. This is the litter ordinance that we've been talking about for a few months. We are finally to third reading and public hearing. Y'all all had an opportunity to read it, and I'm excited. I ran into one of our sheriff deputies earlier, and he was asking when they were going to be able to start using the new ordinance. They're ready to clean up our county, and I'm glad to see an effort. Lawrence City is proposing this next week. Clinton City proposed it last week, and Fountain Inn will be proposing it on June the 3rd. So that everybody in town, of course, we as a county already cover great for it, but they have also talked about it in one of their meetings. But that will give us every municipality that has their own jurisdictions and the county working in the same manner, working together, because trash doesn't know where the city limit sign is. So it'll be nice that we're all on the same page and doing our best to clean our county up. So with that being said, the time is 6:10. I'll now open the floor for the public hearing on ordinance number 897. Anybody wishes to speak on it, please approach the microphone and state your first and last name. All righty, seeing none, I will close public hearing at 6:11. And I will now call for a motion for the third and final reading of ordinance number 897.
Motion to approve final reading ordinance 897.
Have a motion by Mr. Rankin,
Second.
a second by Mr. Carroll. Is there any discussion or comments?
I'm very excited about this as well, Mr. Chairman. Can't tell you how many phone calls we as council members get about litter. And it'll be nice to be able to point to this in the books for how we're gonna clean it up, so.
All right, anybody else? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of approving ordinance number 897 on third reading, please raise your right hand. 6-0. Awesome. All right, next we will move into second reading on ordinance number 896 for the relocation of Old Dairy Road. Y'all heard, or do you have anything else to add from last one?
So it's just relocating it closer to the property line. It's not cutting anybody off or anything. And it's no cost to the county.
Motion to approve on second reading.
Motion by Mr. Carroll. Second by Ms. Anderson. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of approving ordinance number 896 on second reading, please raise your right hand. 6-0. All right, does anybody have any new appointments for any of the boards, commissions, or committees currently? All right, hearing none, we will move to public comments. Somebody got the sheet, Dale. Thank you, sir. All right, we have several this evening. We'll start with, in order, Miss Julia Daniel.
Hello, my name is Julia Daniel, and I have lived on Hickory Road in Lawrence County since 1989. I'd like to point out also that there are 8 members of our community here tonight. We are a rural community. It's used to be a very peaceful, quiet, nice place to live. We are a community mostly of elderly with health problems, as most people do when they get older. But we've always had a nice, quiet, friendly place to live. But now we have a problem. We have a business operating and openly violating the county noise ordinance, and it is frequently. I'm not talking about loud party or somebody's loud muffler. I'm talking about assault weapons, gunfire, helicopters, missiles, rockets, but it's mostly the gunfire that we hear the most. When the helicopters come through, that's terrifying. But the noise ordinance of Lawrence County is 9 p.m. to 7 a.m., no gunfire and no loud excessive noise. This goes on till up to 3 o'clock in the morning. And it's highly disturbing. It is traumatizing, it's scary. And we have repeatedly, many of us have repeatedly called and tried to get a complaint, get something done, and we were told that it was the military. They couldn't do anything about it because the military doesn't have to abide by county ordinance. So I took it on myself to call Fort Benning and Fort Jackson. Neither one of them knew anything about it. They said, why would they do something like that when they have thousands of acres in all terrain? They have their own trainers. They don't need to come into a rural community to do any training. So We were told though that it was the military and that's the reason we couldn't do anything about it. So we're disturbed, we are upset. This past weekend was a nightmare. And there's no call for it. It's all for one person to make a lot of money by destroying our community. I've compared it with the sounds you used to hear on the news when Baghdad was being the war zone. That's what it sounds like. You can't open your windows or go out on your deck or sit in your yard. Or when the helicopters came over, I didn't know they were coming until I had my dog outside for his last walk of the night. And these helicopters are just barely over the treetops with these red lights. That's scary. And I'm out there with my dog. Anyway, it's unreasonable. It's unconscionable. And we're trying to find out what we can do to put a stop to it. If they want to operate a business and it goes on till 9 o'clock at night, okay, we can deal with that. But when it gets to be 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, and 3 o'clock, that is, I don't even know how to describe it. It's horrifying. And like I say, there are so many people that have health problems, and when you're awakened by, one night they said, I thought it was a bomb. One person told me later that it was a rocket, and somebody else told me it was some kind of missile. I don't care what it was. Whatever it was, you could feel the impact, like a pressure. It was horrible. And I was inside my house with my doors closed and my windows closed. And this goes on at midnight. There's no call for it. And we, like I said, we are just at our wits' end. We don't know what to do. When we call the sheriff's office, we get the same old story. It's the military, and they can do it. I don't believe that. I know that's not true. In my heart, I know it, and I've already talked to at least 2 members of the military of the Public Affairs Office at Fort Benning and Fort Jackson, and they say no. But I don't understand what exempts that one business from a county ordinance where I would have to abide by it. All of y'all would have to abide by it. I don't understand why this one business is allowed to just go their way. And they also, when they claim that it is military, you look at their website, it shows that it's open enrollment, $650 for admittance. Now that's like a one-night thing. They have accommodations there, overnight accommodations. They even put out, they have fully equipped kitchens, a lounge, a gym, and a bar. You got people piled up in there with all of these automatic weapons, and they have a bar? How can that be? But I guess it can be because they're just getting away with it. And nobody's doing anything. We don't know what to do. We don't know where to go, but it's destroying our community. And like I say, there's 8 of us here tonight because of our concerns and in fact, I live well over half a mile. And yet it is that bad at my house with my doors and windows closed. There are some people, some here tonight who live across the road. I don't see how they stand it. And it's, we're just asking for help. We need to know what we can do, what can be done. We're just, like I say, we're small time homeowners, and most of us are elderly. We don't have the resources to hire big time law firms or anything like that, and not that it would do much good anyway. Because as long as they're allowed to get away with it, they're going to. The name of the place is the Sawmill Tactical Range. It started off being, an equestrian center. And they built these buildings and all, and that was fine. And then it changed to a shooting range. And about 2-3 years ago, they changed it to a tactical range. And that's when it went completely crazy. It just went from bad to worse. When it was on Saturday afternoon, okay, you can deal with that. But when it's on up to even 9 o'clock at night, too bad. But you can't have a friend over to eat dinner and sit out on the deck and talk, because it's just not possible. It's, we just need something done. And I appreciate you listening to me.
Thank you, Ms. Daniel, we appreciate it. Next, we have Ms. Renee Chapman.
Yes. Good evening, council members. And as Ms. Daniels said, we're all neighbors. We all live in the same neighborhood. And Ms. Julia, they changed the name. I looked at the website this morning. The name now is the Sawmill Training Complex. That is the name that is on the website as of today, this morning. This says it's morphed and changed as it has gone along. Actually, we thought we were going to speak in a little different order. So what I'm going to say to you guys is a little briefer version than what Ms. Julia said, okay? But as she's right, they've been operating since 2018. October 2018 was the first day when I came home from work. And I got out of my car. As she said, this freaks our animals out. If you have a dog and you know that cannot stand thunder or lightning, you can imagine what that's like. My dog was in the biggest panic of his entire life. And I saw it before when I drove up. And I get out of the car and I'm like, what is that? And I go inside and I ask my husband, and he tells me that it's the shooting range, okay? And that night, as she said, this was the first incident that I ever had with this. They buzzed our house when they came over. With those helicopters, the windows in our house vibrate. I hate to even hear a helicopter. You know, we also have Donaldson Center, where they're now doing a lot of modifications on airplanes and helicopters up there. Every time I hear one, I'm frantic. Is it gonna go to Donaldson Center, or is it gonna go over to the shooting range, and we're gonna have another nightmare? And they have been operating like this without any adherence to the order. And we have, like Ms. Julia said, we've called Sheriff Reynolds and his team. We've asked them to take a look at it. He's brushed off our complaints, blatantly brushed them off. And he has lied to us about what goes on over there. It is not as he states. And in fact, as I was talking to Ms. Julia a minute ago, before we came in here, this place, as she said, in the beginning, it progressed as a small shooting range. I mean, and as we understand, it is a business. That's the key word here, guys, business. This is an operating business. And it was operating as a small shooting range, and we knew that it's a business. We have to, it applied somewhere, got the rule, got the licenses, whatever it needed to operate. Wasn't a whole lot we could do about this. But these things that go on now, it's ridiculous. And we really do need your help to do something about it. We understand that they're going to do 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. But we really would love to have some quiet from 9 p.m. to 7 a.m. I mean, guys, I don't know how many of you guys work, but I work. And when you wake up on Sunday morning at 7 a.m. and that's the first thing you hear, it's really kind of frustrating. It's very frustrating. And my husband's not here because we have company from out of town, but he's lived on this family farm out there his whole life. And you think I'm going to pry him off that property? It's not going to happen. So I'm going to listen to this every Sunday morning. And there's not a whole lot I can do about it. But you guys can help us change it. You can help us make a difference about it. And because we've used up all of our resources. We've used them all up. And I thank you so much, and I thank you for your time and your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you for speaking to us, Ms. Chapman. All right, next, Mr. Smith. Good to see you again, sir.
Good to see you. Mr. Chairman, County Council, I'd like to introduce to you our new 4-H agent, Ms. Kendall Wynn.
Hello, everyone. I'm Kendall Wynn. I just got recently hired in March. I'm originally from Orlando. I was a 4-H'er myself for 11 years and worked at Extension in college, and now I'm here. And I just wanted to come here and express how excited I am to be here in Lawrence County and to get to know, the leaders, parents, volunteers, and youth of Lawrence County.
All right. Well, thank you for introducing yourself. We're glad to have you here in Lawrence County. We got some exciting news coming for y'all with our new agribusiness center. If nobody's told you about it.
Yes, I heard about it. I'm very excited to utilize it.
Several of us up here were 4-H'ers ourselves back in the day. So, but anyways, we're glad to have you here in Lawrence and look forward to working with you moving forward.
You as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. And last but certainly not least, Ms. Connie Hill.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and council members. I have to write down, I can't remember anything. My name is Connie Hill, and I live at 5644 Indian Mound Road in Lawrence County. At 1:45 a.m. this past Saturday morning, May 8th, 2021, I was awakened by gunfire. I lay there and tried to return to sleep, no such luck. I called 911 to file a complaint about the noise. I requested that the dispatcher have the supervisor on duty give me a call. I went on my back porch and made a 4-minute short recording on my telephone. The online calendar on the website of the Sawmill Tactical Training Facility showed a training in progress from Friday, May 7th, 8 o'clock a.m. to Saturday, May 8th, 10 o'clock a.m. for NVG. A $650 fee for up to 20 people. At 2:57 a.m., I called dispatch back to say I was returning to bed and to tell the sergeant not to call me. She advised that a deputy had just called back in service from the sawmill and the sergeant would call in just a few minutes. At 3:05 a.m., the sergeant called me and said the deputy had issued a citation to the range master at the sawmill after hearing the gunshots himself. I found out the next evening that this meant that a blue ticket summons to court was issued and the range master would have to appear in court. This was not the first time I've had to call 911. Another night when the deputy arrived at the sawmill, the main gate was locked, allowing no access to the facility. The deputy contacted his supervisor, who advised him it was the military and nothing could be done. I was a police officer in the town of Ware Shoals for about 7 years. I retired from the Greenwood Police Department, not as an officer, after 15 years as secretary to the chief of police. I am 150% supportive of all law enforcement and U.S. military servicemen and women. I have attended the South Carolina Criminal Justice Academy and understand the need for nighttime training in the dark. But I also understand the County of Lawrence Noise Ordinance Section 18-21, Section 3, 9 o'clock p.m. to 7 o'clock a.m. I am currently a cancer patient undergoing chemo and other treatments that began in 2005. After talking with several neighbors in the area, I wanted to come before you tonight to express my concerns about the Sawmill Tactical Training Facility located at 8524 Neely Ferry Road in the County of Lawrence, and what I can expect from the council and sheriff's office in reference to the noise ordinance violation. 2 o'clock a.m. Really? I invite you to visit the website. I know that she said that the name of this company has changed, but it's something that everyone in Lawrence County and the state of South Carolina needs to see. They have a billboard out on the interstate coming from Columbia to Lawrence before the road splits that they've put up about their tactical training. And I know law enforcement has done some training there. There's pictures of them, and that's fine. And if you have to do night training, do it, till 9 o'clock, or do it in the summer when the hours are different. But this is ridiculous. And it's not just the fact that they're doing it. The main thing is that we're being lied to. This is not, I asked them, I said, you mean to tell me the United States of America military, Army, is doing this training? It's military training, man. So that's what we have to say. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Hill, thank you so much for speaking. I'll speak real quick before we jump into the next section. I hate this happening to you. First off, Dale, you'll set up a meeting at 9:30 on Friday morning with the sheriff. And in the meantime, I'll call the clerk of court and give me a copy of that ticket. The date, 5/8/21. She said 3 or 5 in the morning, so it should be somewhere around that time. And then I will say too, that we do have a noise ordinance that needs to be followed. However, as far as the business goes, we have 0 zoning in Lawrence County outside of the municipalities. And being able to stop them from conducting business is next to impossible. However, we do have a noise ordinance and it needs to be followed. We've addressed it on some other issues. We will do some follow up here on this. And we have a copy of your, we have your addresses. We have Ms. Hill's email. If you don't mind, I'm gonna leave this back up front. Do give us your email before you leave, so maybe we can update you as we progress forward and let you know what's going on. I'd like to do that. All right, with that being said, we will jump into council comments. I'll start with Mr. Ryan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to say thank you to everyone who came out and spoke tonight, especially the kind of people that came from my district. I represent all of y'all, and I am very familiar with the sawmill training complex, and I have been out there multiple times. From what I understand about the situation, I understand that there was a situation that happened last fall, and I was notified about it. I actually spoke with the management of the complex, and they informed me that none of this would ever happen again. So here, what has happened over the weekend that is discouraging and also frustrating. But I can tell you that there has been some leadership change. The foreman who was running the complex is no longer there. That happened about 2 weeks ago. So I don't know if that is part of the reason why this training was to happen, because he was the one who specifically told me that it wouldn't happen again. And from what I understand, he was true to his word until this weekend, which he didn't have any control over. So I will personally reach out to them again. I am familiar with the owners of the complex, but we do have an ordinance in place, and that does need to be followed. We do need to make sure we're enforcing that. So I do apologize for the inconvenience that is caused, and I will definitely do my part to make sure that that doesn't happen again. And for everyone here tonight, if you do have a concern like that, feel free to reach me personally. I'd love to speak with you guys after the meeting as well. Give you my phone number, and that way you can reach me with any of these concerns. Lastly, I guess I just want to say I hope everyone isn't riding their car on empty like I was last night. Make sure you fill up with gas. That's all I got.
Thanks, sir. Mr.
Comments, Chairman.
All right, Ms. Youngs.
I agree with these people need for 100%. We need to do something. I like to shoot my guns, but I'm not a big fan of it. But still, if you want to, that's fine. At 2 o'clock in the morning, that's a bunch of bull. Cause I've had idiots over my neighborhood every now and then, they'll fire off a couple rounds. 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and they've got a bar over there. Yeah, I know what's going on with that. So, So, yeah, you know, I don't know what this military stuff is, if that's true about what's going on with the sheriff's department, I'm kind of disappointed with that. So, yeah, we need to get a handle on it. 9 o'clock, that wouldn't get quiet.
Mr. Chairman, I do want to interject real quick. Sure. In regards to the sheriff's department, from what they have told you guys about the military, I actually was speaking with the owners about this a few months ago. Apparently, there are some agreements with some military entities in the United States that actually have done some training there at the training complex. Apparently, last fall, the situation that happened, there were some Black Hawk helicopters, which are military. So there is some connection to the military. To what extent, I'm not sure. But from what I have been in contact with the sheriff's department, they've been told the same thing.
I'd like
So,
to see some proof.
yeah, and I will definitely make sure we get that. But in defense of the sheriff's department, I do want to let you know that I have been told the same thing. And so I just want that to be out there and made clear.
Mr. Rankin, with that being said, does that allow them to break the noise ordinance?
It does not, and good question, because that is what I brought to their attention a few months ago, and the same situation happened. But again, they told me it wouldn't happen again, so.
And up about the Black Hawk helicopters, a lot of those helicopters, they had no markings. Some of them looked like they came out of a dump because they were speed. But they looked, they were old helicopters. They were not like you would expect our military to have.
Another thing, excuse me, that I didn't bring up in my letter was that, someone who lives across the street from this place saw a truck pulling a trailer behind it. And there was writing on the side of the trailer. And the side of the trailer said silent majority. That is some of the group that was in Washington, DC, is my understanding, when all that happened in Congress, was seen pulling in there.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Ms. Anderson.
I don't have anything to say, but I really want to make sure that, if it's something military, council should know about it, and I want to make sure I hear something in reference to, military. I want to hear that.
Yeah.
I really don't think it would be any kind of thing going on here unless, the county was aware of it.
Thank you, Senator. Mr. Chair.
Nothing to add.
All right, I'll just echo what I said earlier. I definitely understand where you're coming from, and we will definitely be discussing one with the sheriff to see where the previous tickets have landed, as well as, path moving forward, having with the sheriff. I'll give this right, since it is his district, we might discuss meeting with the, seeing if we can come to a compromise. That being said, I am, pro-business, and, like I said, with no zoning, there's really not much we can do about it in general, but we definitely want to follow our ordinances that are currently on the books. When they came here, they knew they existed, or when they came here, they existed, whether they knew they did or not, that's on them. So we will look into it for sure, and like I said, I'm gonna give this sheet to, Mr. Satterfield, and if you'd like to put your email on it to get an update, please by all means do so. With that being said, that concludes the, first portion of our meeting this evening. We have 2 items for executive session: a legal briefing on the contractual matter related to the courthouse, and a contractual matter related to human resources. Do I have a motion to move into executive session for the reasons stated?
Move to move. Second.
Motion by Mr. Triple, second by Mr. Carroll. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. 6-0. The time is now 6:40. We will reconvene in executive session at 6:50.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, y'all, I forgot. Ms. Butts, do you want to stand up and be recognized? I thought Brown was gonna recognize you.
We've changed, we grow.
I was his first grade teacher at Lawrence Primary, and he's done so well, I'm so proud.
Well, thank you so much.
I wanted to get his accolades down.
Thank you.
That's more, happening more often.
Time is now 8:10. I'll call open session back to order. County Council met in executive session to discuss a legal briefing on a contractual matter relating to the courthouse and a contractual matter relating to human resources and employment. No action was taken in executive session. Is there any council member who wishes to make a motion this evening? Hearing none, I'll accept the motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Mr. Rankin, second by Mr. Carroll. All those in favor, please raise your right hand.